Hello, my name is David, but you can call me Skiff, and we're taking the show on the road. Woo! So, I'm leaving therapy, and I have a few errands to run today, and I haven't had the opportunity to film anything for this week, so I figured why not just start vlogging in the car on the way to run my errands, because I've had this thing on my mind, and one of you guys had asked me this question about queerbaiting. And it's something that I've been discussing actually with my therapist for a while now, my thoughts on it and where it all fits into leading a happy and healthy life. And I guess we should just start off with what queerbaiting is, right? This isn't like a new concept by any means of the word or any means of the idea that... Okay, let me just go back a little bit. Sorry, I have so many thoughts. I feel like my brain is firing at rapid fire and I can't keep up with it. So, I don't know what the actual definition of queerbaiting is, or what the generally recognized definition of queerbaiting is, but I can tell you, I'll put it on the screen right here, but I can tell you what I think and how I see queerbaiting. When it comes to a product, whether it be a television show, whether it be a film, or whether you're using an actor or a musician as a brand, as a whole, as the product, queerbaiting is when you're taking somebody who, on the sexual spectrum of things, identifies as straight, and you're using them and pushing their sexual boundaries right up to the line of acceptability to then bait or trick a queer audience into wanting more from that product. Again, television show, film, musician, actor, in the hopes that they may one day be gay. So that's sort of like how I see queerbaiting. And when it boils down to everything, sorry, I have hair on my face. Yeah, gone. When it boils down to it, the way that I see what queerbaiting is used for in the industry, entertainment industry umbrella, it's all about money, right? And more often than not, and I'm generalizing here, of course, the queer community, LGBTQIA community, in the past, because they weren't allowed to get married, we weren't allowed to have children and all those things, members of the queer community had more money, more expendable income, if you want to put it that way, because they weren't spending things on children, right? So they didn't have to save money for kids' schooling. They didn't have to, like, buy diapers and clothes for kids, and they didn't have to raise children. Not that it's right, but that is sort of how I feel the industry saw things, is that because this community has more expendable income, we should appeal to them in a certain way to get their dollars, but only push it to a certain limit so that a broader audience would still be able to accept it and maybe possibly not even recognize what we're doing, to then get both sides of the coin, just per se. Now, I'm not saying that queerbaiting is right, because I don't agree with it, but it is a tool that has been used for many, 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 many years within the entertainment industry. And it's hard to say when it began and why it began and why people continue to do it. But I do have an example. I have a couple examples, I think. Nick Jonas, for example, when he decided to become a solo artist from the Jonas Brothers and was releasing his first solo album, he did not a specific or planned out tour, but he did like a gay bar tour where within any given weekend you would hear that Nick Jonas had appeared at a gay club or gay bar and had played his single and gotten on the bar and taken off his shirt and danced and like put on a show for the gay boys. Now, this is where I think it can be troubling, is you're using your sexuality to trick an audience into consuming a product that otherwise they might have still consumed, because the music, to be honest, was fun. His first album was really good, I thought, as far as like pop albums go. I thought it was a great way to start off to being a solo artist. I think he'll be successful for years to come. But I think that he didn't need to do that, and whether it was conscious or unconscious that this was occurring, it was something that did actually happen. And was it necessary? No. Did it help with album sales? Probably. And so I understand why a brand or a product would want to do it, because it does make sense from a business perspective. But I think when you're giving false hope to somebody or false hope to a community that you may be part of that community, and therefore because you are a celebrity or because you're well known, it then subconsciously would give the hope to younger people and people at large within the community that they might still have the ability to be accepted by whomever, and might then have the strength and the courage to come out as whatever they are. Now, in the broader spectrum of queerbaiting, I think that there is also, on the flip side, queerbaiting within media. And whether that be a character in Harry Potter, years after the books have been written, is being told to us is gay, and of course he's been gay this entire time. Or whether it be, I mean, the biggest example, of course, has to be Supernatural at this point in time. And whether Castiel and Dean, is it Dean? I don't know. I think it's Dean. whatever. Whether those two characters are in a relationship or not, and whether they're described as having a love relationship, giving hope to people, I think, as a creator, is doing a disservice to your audience and thinking that they're not going to be able to handle a gay relationship on screen. Now, whether or not in Supernatural those two characters are gay or not, because I actually do watch Supernatural, and I never thought that they were in or had any romantic relationship. That's just my personal feelings towards it. But there are tons of people who see them as having this other romantic relationship that is never outright discussed. Now, whether or not the producers and the creators and the showrunners of this show have decided to take that from the audience and then play into that is another story, because perhaps they have. Perhaps they've seen that the audience is now discussing this whole other thing that they had never contemplated, and so now they're going to play into it, just sort of just appease to that audience without ever outright saying it. Now, my whole thoughts about it really, in reality, are that queerbaiting in itself, I think, does a complete disservice to the LGBTQIA community at large, only because usually, more often than not, we're the only ones who are recognizing this within a piece of media. And are we grasping at straws in trying to find ourselves within a story that perhaps we're not being represented at all? And I think it stems back to the idea that we have to fight for more representation within media, and we need to find a way to express ourselves, whether it be creating our own works or writing our own stories, to get that representation within the entertainment industry, and hoping that more and more artists and actors and decide that it's okay to be gay, and it's okay to be bisexual, and it's okay to be pansexual, and then sort of normalizing it. I mean, I hate to use that word, but it is sort of the best way to describe it, right? Is normalizing it for the rest of, I mean, I can only say the United States because that's where I live currently. And I don't know how gay characters are portrayed throughout the rest of the world, and if they are or if they aren't. But as soon as we can come together and get to a place where straight and cisgendered is not the norm, we can then sort of get the representation that we've deserved for all these years. And I think we are getting to that place, because I was looking up some statistics, and I think of all the television shows, I think that it said like 58% of the characters on TV at this point do identify as being part of the LGBTQIA community. Now, while that is wonderful, I think we still have a long way to go, because more often than not, those characters that are being represented are completely desexualized. They are there to serve a grander purpose, I suppose is the best way to put it, but they're there to serve their straight counterparts and usually to bring humor to a situation. They don't normally have their own storylines, and they are sort of used as a clown. And I hate to say that, but that is usually the way that these characters are being portrayed, is that they're completely one-dimensional. They don't move the story forward, but they're there to sort of break the mood. So it's great that we're being represented, but I also think that we have a long way to go within that representation of these characters. Now, are we ever going to be able to move away from this ideal of queerbaiting? That I don't know, because even with Andrew Garfield playing Pryor in Angels in America, has come out and said that he is gay. He's a gay man. He considers himself a gay man except for the sex. Now, is that right? Can he say that? Can he say that he is a gay man except for the part where he has sex with a man? Because you still identify technically as straight. You still have romantic relationships with women, and primarily with women, if not only with women. And just because you are playing a gay character right now in a play, does that give you the right to then say that you're a gay man? No, of course not. But you are then queerbaiting an audience to think that, oh, well, maybe he is a gay man, and maybe I should go support him in this production. And I think everyone should go see Angels in America. I haven't heard the best things about it. I heard Nathan Lane is incredible. He did just win the Tony. But I don't know. I haven't had the opportunity to go see it because I don't live in New York. And yes, they did have a filmed version of it that did go to the screen, and I didn't have the chance to go see it. I was very excited to go see it when I heard this production was happening, but time just got away from me. And again, Nick Jonas, who was on a television show, I don't remember what it was called. That's irrelevant. But it was a show about a boxer, or like an MFA fighter or something like that, who the character that he played was gay and in the closet. And he even said that in an interview, I think with Out Magazine, correct me if I'm wrong, that yes, he had slept with men, and yes, he had been with a man before. And that was sort of like the pull quote that they used to get the article clicks, when in reality, the whole idea, that the whole thing that he was saying is that the character that he plays on this television show has had romantic relationships with other men, and therefore he has as well, because those are his lips and that is his body. And so I sort of get that, but again, that is a news outlet using queerbaiting to sort of get people to buy papers, right? And the reason why Nick Jonas comes to mind is because I feel like he's one of the bigger offenders within this whole queerbaiting idea, outside of fictional characters. Because sometimes, and more often than not, I keep saying that, but that is the best way for me to put it, but these fictional characters, the actors who are portraying them, don't have any say in the scripts that they're given, and it's sort of the producers and the showrunners who are pushing this through. And so when it comes to, I think, an entertainer, they sometimes do have control, a little bit more control, as to what is being portrayed out there. At least, you know, when they're giving an interview, they are able to say whatever they want to say, right? Yes, they're given media training, and yes, their publicists are with them and tell them what to say and what not to say and how to say things and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, they are human, so they're going to say what they want to say. And it's hard because, like, where do we, as the consumers, as people of the queer community, where do we draw the line? Is it no longer queerbaiting if the actors that are portraying these characters actually within that community? Is it no longer queerbaiting if the characters actually are in a romantic relationship with one another? I mean, is that what we want? Is that where we want to push things to go? I don't know. I mean, I know that the conversation is greater than me, and I know that I don't have all the answers. But I do have opinions on it, and they are just my opinions. But I think that we have a long way to go before we gain equal opportunities within the entertainment industry, and before we're given the respect that we deserve, and before we have the ability to live truthfully 100%. Because even within our country here in the United States, we're not fully accepted as equal citizens of the law, unfortunately. And that doesn't just go for the queer community, it also goes for people of color. And we have a lot of work to do as a society, I think, before we can get to that point. But I do think that it is an easy way for people to digest and normalize homosexuality in the broader spectrum of the sense when they're seeing it on a regular basis within the culture of the entertainment industry. I'm not sure if that made any sense, and I feel like I perhaps am rambling a little bit. But that's my opinion. I think. Let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you have to say about queerbaiting. Sound off in the comments below. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching that long, rambling video of me talking. If you like this style of video, this sort of stream of consciousness video, let me know in the comments down below. And if you want to see more of me, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can be notified every single time I upload new videos. If you want to follow me on a more regular basis, you can find me across all social media platforms that you can call me Skiff, although I am more active on Instagram, I will tell you that. I'd love to hear anything and everything you have to say, and we will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.